Let's face it, this is one of those banners that is going to be very, very difficult for me to tell you do not summon. And honestly, I don't think that I could even say that. And we're going to go over everything that's a part of this banner, including the A ranks and the extra S rank that is on a separate banner. And if it is worth your polychromes to be summoning on either of these banners. Now, of course, before we get into that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff to help me, get pushed in the algorithm. Love your guys' help with that. And also, don't forget to check out GamerSupps. Use code TYSTRA for 10% off. We do have a drop happening this week as well. It's called Rave Baby, and it looks fantastic. I can't wait for this drop, and I hope that y'all get some GamerSupps. Again, use code TYSTRA for 10% off and help me get closer to my own cup. Now, of course, before we dive into the new units in Panyan Hu, and of course, the ever so beautiful yixuan, we have to talk about units that we already know that are going to be on the banner. And of course, we're starting out with one of my favorite units. I'm not a furry, I promise. But at least for Pulchra, I am. It's Pulchra! And I'm actually very, very happy with this because Pulchra is the only A rank that I haven't been able to fully get done. She is literally just one away from being fully done, and I could get that last little banner of hers. I'm not down bad, I promise, right? But I can tell you right now that she's really, really good. She is a stun unit, which obviously is good in of itself, but she also helps out with a little bit of off-field, right? So she kind of works like Trigger in that regard, where if you do if you meet certain criteria, she's able to do it. I think it's with her specials right here. Perform a rapid back and forth piercing attack, dealing physical damage, and then when you get the EX, it's the same, basically around the same thing. But then when you get Nightmare Shadow, while Pulchra is in her Hunter's Gate state, and when another active character in the squad hits an enemy with a heavy attack from a special attack or EX special attack, dash back and forth, piercing enemies surrounding the target, dealing physical damage. Which means that you're able to continuously do damage with two characters in that sense. You have your active character after you already activated your special attack with Pulchra, and then once you use your heavy attack, you're able to actually have Pulchra come back on the field and start doing even more damage. That's why she's so good. And she's so good, in fact, that Pridewind puts her into meta characters. Now, again, Pridewind is not exactly the end-all, be-all in regards to how good a character is, but I do like to use it as a personal basis of what I'm looking at for a character and how good they might just possibly be. There's a reason why Miyabi is up here at the top and no one has been able to top her until probably 2.0, but we'll get into that, right? Overall, I would say that Pulchra is a must summon if you haven't gotten her yet, somehow, some way, especially on this banner where it's pretty, like, big hits, right? So, for me, it's going to be a thumbs up on Pulchra, right? Now, of course, this is the first of two new units that we're going to talk about, Panyan Hu, which I think is going to help with the defense category pretty good, right? So, for those who don't know, defense, while being able to, deal some okay damage, is mainly focused on being able to defend. If we look at characters such as, Caesar right here, right? Caesar's able to parry a lot of attacks, deal damage, and also build up their meter pretty good. Or actually, no, she's a stun? Or no, she is defense. I knew I wasn't crazy. For some reason, like, Pridewind has stun. But yeah, she basically helps build up stun. With Panyan Hu, I do expect the same thing, and here's why. So when you're playing Panyan Hu, he can gain Break Force and basically activates what's called Touch of Death. Now, Touch of Death, when it activates, consumes one of the Break Forces that you have and basically allows you to do a lot of damage, right? Which is kind of the same thing of what Caesar does, except for it's not really stacks. It's just when she counters, she's able to do damage and build up that stun meter. While Panyan Hu is going to focus more on the damage, which I think is going to be really, really good in regards to having a team that can really, like, dish out damage. So I'm confident that he's going to bring defensive units really back. Now, if you look at the tier list here, and we look at, like, defense units, right? So let's just go, there we go. There is only 3 defensive units, and it's Caesar at the top of the Apex characters. You have Seth right here in the meta characters, though I don't really see a lot of people using Seth in general. And then you also have Ben, which Ben is considered one of the worst, right? Not exactly, you know, I guess the best way to put it is like there's not a lot of defensive units to go with. However, with Pan Yin Hu here, it's going to be really good. And not only does he do that, but on his ultimate, when he activates it, he's able to not only deal physical damage, but he's also able to heal the entire squad. So I think that he's going to be good for a lot of endgame content because of that burst healing effect, right? But it's building up those decibels that's going to be crucial for Pan Yin Hu in those things. So I think maybe you might wait on building up his ultimate, or not building it up, but using it. So there's always a chance that you might not be able to get it, and your runs might be a little bit slim depending on what end game content you're doing. So I think Pan Yin Hu is going to be really, really good. I could be wrong. It could be a whole debacle, the whole Ben debacle, right? Where it's just like, oh, bear guy, not that great. But I highly doubt it with how good his kit sounds. So I'm going to say thumbs up, but I definitely want to hear y'all's opinions on Pan Yin Hu in the comments down below. We're going to move on to Astra Yao. Now, the reason why we're talking about Astra Yao, even though she's on a different banner technically, is that you have to compare Astra Yao to Yixuan when summoning. The 4 stars are going to be the same on both banners, right? But the S ranks are not going to be the same thing. Sorry, A ranks, S ranks, 4 stars, 5 stars. You get what I mean, right? But she is the best support in the game. Like, these thumbnails are not joking. She is busted and she is great. There's a reason why she's at the tier list top for buffing and healing, right? So let's go ahead and dive into what she's able to do just a little bit, right? We're not going to go like too deep into it. So we switch over here. Or not build. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm going crazy. We were at the right spot. So if you look at her specials, right? We're going to talk about her like big old special. After entering the ideolic, it's so weird, ideolic Condensa state, Astra Yao increases all squad members' damage and crit rate, which is pretty pog, right? While in the ideolic Condensa state, Astra Yao cannot move. By pressing the heavy attack button, will activate basic attack interlude, and pressing, what the hell is that button? The dodge button, there we go, will activate a dodge after triggering the perfect dodge. While in the state, Astra Yao's anti-interruption level is increased, and the damage she takes is reduced by 40%. After switching to another character, Astra Yao will remain on the field and become invulnerable. So, to me, I feel like there's no reason to stay on her when you activate the state, which is why a lot of my runs go really quick, because you could switch to, you know, a Miyabi, or in this case from these banners, Yixuan. So she's already really good in that regard. And then her ultimate here, when it's triggered, she could basically make it so that characters can switch in automatically and get their ultimate switches, right? So use the song channel energy into a blast, dealing massive ether damage and restoring some HP to all squad members. After the skill, she enters the ideolic Condensa state, and after the skill, the next 2 quick assists will be replaced with chain attacks, right? That's what it was. Chain attacks, which are basically your ultimate. So she's busted. She is absolutely busted as a unit, and I definitely recommend summoning for her if you haven't done so already. To me, there's just no comparison. Like, yeah, you can get Pan Yin Hu, which has the ability to heal, but you're getting increased damage, increased crit damage. You're getting an invulnerable character. You're getting healing, you know, and you're getting quick assists every time she activates her chain attack. So, to me, it's a no-brainer to summon for Astra Yao if you haven't done so already. But if you have, honestly, you don't need anything above M0 in my personal opinion. Some people might argue that, but to me, I'm the type of person that's like, you know what? Save your polychromes, get single characters, right? So that's my take on it. Get yourself an Astra Yao. There are a lot of things we have to consider with Yixuan. And I mean this wholeheartedly. And this is probably why this is going to be a little bit more of a complicated talk, right? So Yixuan is going to have a new attribute and a new specialty. Now, why is this important? Well, we haven't seen a new attribute since Miyabi, and Miyabi's busted. So we see that the attribute here is Aura Ink ether. You know, you got your little brackets, right? So already you know that that's going to be broken. The fact that she's got that going on for her. And then she's got a new specialty called Rupture. And basically, if you don't know what Rupture is, Rupture ignores defense via sheer force. Rupture characters specialize in dealing severe damage to enemies by ignoring a certain amount of their defense through sheer force. And then sheer force scales from the Rupture agent's attack stat, which means that any Rupture agent is going to be a DPS molded character, and it means that you need to scale their attack as much as possible. Sorry for the pause there. It was an accident. But there's a lot to really take in here with this character, and honestly, I'm very stoked on this new specialty. And her kit seems complicated, but honestly, I kind of get it, because what she does is she has what's called adrenaline instead of a special meter. You keep using your special attacks through adrenaline, you're going to build up what's called technique points. And these technique points can be used for a ultimate attack outside of your decibels. So what I mean by that is, unlike most characters, Yixuan's ultimate does not rely on decibels alone. It also relies on technique points, which you can acquire by using up adrenaline. Yixuan will prioritize using technique points over decibels. Unleashing her ultimate gives her an auric ink point, which you can consume to activate other attacks. She has basically, you know, so many different ways to build up, and honestly, her damage output is going to be scary. Very, very scary, right? So scary, in fact, that I think that she's going to rival Miyabi on the tier list. I think that that's just a given. I think that she's going to be right up here with Miyabi, or I'm scared to even think about it, that Miyabi and everyone is going to be bumped down a tier so that Yixuan is now the tier 0. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that she's just going to go in the same tier as Miyabi, because Miyabi is still goated, right? But ether characters are going to get busted with the fact that we're getting Yixuan. So back to the topic at hand. Do I think that you should summon on this banner? No, not at all. I'm kidding. Yes, you should be summoning on these banners. Yixuan is going to be considered one of the best DPSs in the game. And I'm telling you right now, with her kit, like, as complicated as it may seem, I think her kit's busted. And then you have Astra Yao, and if you haven't summoned Astra Yao yet, I don't know what you're doing, because Astra Yao is the best support character in the game. You've got brand new Panyan Hu, which could be a great defensive unit for later end game stuff, and you have Polka, who is a great stun unit in general. So to me, I think that these banners are a no-brainer. You should be summoning on these, especially with how many polychromes and free summons we're going to be getting for both these banners. And I want to know in the comments down below what you think. Do you think that these banners are a must summon? I definitely want to hear y'all's opinions on that. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next ZZZ video comes out. And of course, don't forget that this weekend we have 2 special live streams late at night happening. We have obviously the Genshin Impact 5.7 special live stream that we will be watching together on live stream. And then the next day we also have the Nikkei X Stellar Blade collab live stream. And I'm very excited for that one. So hopefully I see you all there. Don't forget to get your gamer subs. And of course, as always, we will catch you in the next video. Please take care and be safe.